This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so we have seen the concept of how to create a test station with rest assured and how to assert it, and we also validated the test cases that I had written out here. Okay, now let's go to the next thing is that we have to post the measurements to this test station we have created. Okay, so the next is posting the measurements. Now remember one particular thing that for posting of the measurements, we need to use the post method. This method will be used to transfer measurements collected from your station. Uh, of the possible data structure is provided out here. All parameters, the station ID you have to give, date, temperature, wind speed, whatever you want to give, you can give it. Measurements are transferred in an array which follows to specific several data. So you have to give the request body something like this. So all these parameters that are defined out here as part of this JSON array in the request body. You got to use the header content type as JSON, and you have to use this particular URI, which is nothing but a combination of base URI and the path parameters or resources. Okay, and app ID is what this is what we are going to use. No optional parameters going to use, and there will be no response body for this. We have to validate just the response code is 2 not 4 or not. We have to validate that the response header defines the server name as OpenResty or not. First, let us open up the Postman because I want to show you what there because we have created that there. So transfer measurements. So this is transfer measurements for Bangalore. It is so if you look at one particular behavior relationship, create station, right? This is the create station part. And what is the response you have got? Let's send the response first. Let's send the request. This is the response we are getting. And if you remember, this is for New Delhi test station. First thing. And this is the station ID, which is a unique ID. Now, this ID is actually used it's for Bangalore. So anyway, this ID would be used when you go to transfer measurement. That ID would be used in the request body. So that means the response from the create station has to be used as a request to the for transferring the measurements. This relationship we have to understand it. The response from the create station, which response? The ID is used as a request in your transfer measurement to send the measurements. That is what I want to say. This relationship has to be understood to frame your framework behavior. That means I have to basically capture this station ID and put it to a variable. And that variable can be used in your transfer measurements. So you have to capture this response and put it to a variable. And that variable will be used out here. That is what I'm trying to say. Okay. So how is that possible then? 1 minute, call आया Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Kaushik.
Yeah. So the create station response needs to be kept to a variable so that you can use it in the request body. How is that possible? Is it possible or not first? If it is not possible, what we need to do? Let's understand that first. Okay, so first thing that I will do in the same, I will create something called as a new class file called transfer measurement. And have we used a test annotation test ng framework? Yes, we have used it. So we're gonna use out here also. Now I will show you the procedure first of all at the rate test I will put it. Okay, and this is public void. This is the method create station, and I will just copy this. Okay, because I need to show you. Okay, is it possible to transfer or not? Where I have copied from? कहाँ से किया copy? I have to call this assertions part also. Let's use that. This has to be imported. That's all. That's notation. So you can look at this particular category. So I'm just recapitulating the whole fact. There's a public soft assert S is a data member. You're creating basically a reference variable of the soft assert class. A global variable where you're basically using the variable called a base URI variable, and this is the base URI you are giving. Let me format this. Save and format. Okay, anyway, so basically you're basically passing the global variable to the base URI variable of the rest assured class, and then this is your where is that? This is your payload request body, and that you are converting to a string format using the converted request string method, and you have called this particular method out here and pass on that particular JSON file, and the converted body is kept in this particular variable. Then you are basically using the given method, and the parameters you're passing are the app ID, the content type header has to be passed compulsory, and your the converted body which is in string format is basically passed as a parameter of the body method, and then you're logging out, header level logging out. Okay. Then when this is the post method to be used, and this is the path parameters and asserting it, the asserts the status code 2 not 1 and all those things. So fine, I've just copied it, so there's nothing to understand, and the validations are defined out here as last time. Okay, now the concept is that this is where you are getting the response is kept out here, and that response is getting converted to a string. Okay, now from this particular response, this is the printout of the response, and I'm basically this is not a good way to validate, so I'm removing this. Okay, the good way to validate is basically like this: the actual attitude or expected attitude with you by parsing the response converted to a string within the JSON path class object. And this is the expected latitude. This is the actual latitude. Okay. So, fine. So what we need to do is that there the response will also contain a station ID. Now, how do I get this station ID? The question is, how do I get the station ID now? So if you look at, let's run this first. Let's run it as a test, ng test. There's some problem also. I can see that. What is the problem? Extra effort. Okay. Any other problem here? Exception has to be handled. Handle it. IO exception. Okay, this let's run this now. If you understand one particular behavior is that parse it, when you parse it out, this is how you have parsed it. You are basically getting the actual latitude for the latitude keyword. Where is the latitude keyword present? Okay, it is present out here. Altitude is there, latitude keyword is out here. And that is what you are picking up. That means I can also pick up, uh, get the station ID at runtime, whatever is created at runtime. Now again, if I fire it up, the station ID will be different. This is the station ID. So how do you pick it up at runtime? So I'll basically say JS, that is the parsing variable, dot get the dot, that will be a string value. So get the string value of list map string, and the path you have to define it. So what is the path? If you understand it, this is what I am getting. I'll copy this. I don't know what is the path. So what you need to do, open up the JSON editor, online editor. And before using the editor to look at the path of the JSON file, you have to first format it. So JSON formatted you have to use. Oh, it's opening the same thing. JSON formatter. Yeah. So put this format out here. The response that has been, parsed, and that is been converted to a string format. Process this. This is what I get. Copy this and then put it to the editor. And then click on this. Now you can see that how you can travel now through the JSON files. First thing is you see a curly brace, that means objects. These are 11 objects. And none of the objects has any array size. Array size is there in the object. You'll be having a square bracket beside it. So I have to get the ID. The formatter, where do you format it? You are formatting the the response body, which is converted to a string format. Okay, so you can format it. And then you're using the editor. Right? Now, where do I take the path from? I need to take the ID. Is it possible to take the ID? Yes. Just give this particular path. And I will call this as return type of get string method is a string class. So string, I'll call this as station ID equal to this. And I'm going to print out this. The station ID is plus So whatever is the station ID that is coming at runtime will be thrown out. Well, let's run this now again. So this is the still running. I can see that this is the ID right now, and I'm getting the runtime ID. I'm getting it. Now this has to be put as a request body. In the request body of what? In the request body of transfer measurement. So there will be one more request body, a payload, because you can see in your postman there is a request body for transferring measurement. Okay. So how do you put that inside this? That is the question. So I'll have to first create a JSON file. Others, go to general tab, general folder, go to files, click on next. I'll call this as transfer measurement dot JSON as the extension, right? So this will have, if you look at this documentation, this will have this response. So you can give this parameter based on whatever parameter you want to transfer. So I will just copy this as for the sake right now, and go out here and place it. Now this station ID should come from here, from this variable. How do you do that? How do we do that? So that means this transfer measurement JSON file has to be created dynamically with all these data. And it is starting with the square bracket, you can see that means the JSON array. So if I pick this up and paste it to the editor and run this, array of size 1, index number 0 is that, it has 9 objects, this is the station ID, and it has to be put to the station ID only. Okay, so what do you do for that? Okay, let me show you the codes there with me. You can use this. You have to use a third-party jar file. Let me show you. Workspace. Not this. API. There is. Let me see. It is there in my desktop only. Used API services. Okay, define this. There is a request body. Create station, modification station, transfer measurements. Okay. I had used a particular jar file. I remember that. Okay. Transfer measurement. Yeah. So you have to use this JSON simple jar file to write JSON files, and specifically for the request body. Okay, because if you look at, I have to transfer this ID. I have to transfer this ID that I've got right now. Okay, to the JSON file. So I can directly basically copy and paste it, but that is not going to solve my matter. I have to create this JSON file with that dynamic ID. How do I do that? So for that, we have something called as the JSON simple. What is that? 1.10, 1.1 jar file. This is outside of the rest assured. Okay. Okay. You can download from here. Okay. You have to create a static. I'm creating a static method. I can create a non-static method also. You have to create a JSON object class. You can see that. Now, uh, this will basically use the put method. As a put method, you have to give the now the create it. Okay. Here is where you are creating. You have to use the JSON object class to start creating the object first. Okay. And if you want to create an array for the clouds value, this is the clouds value. For this, you have to create it something like this. Add the cloud object to it. Okay. So, and then you have to use the create the main object right now. This is the main object. Start creating and give the station values. Okay. So what you need to do is that this station value that you have got should be passed to the global variable. Otherwise, I can't use it in another method because I have to use another method out here to create the JSON file dynamically, which will start with the array size. The array size is 1, and we have to use this. So what we need to do is that first let us. I will not define this JSON array. This let me say I'll put it right now. When you want to do it manually, you can put like this. You can just get the this is the station ID, right? So you can just manually copy it and run this off. This will run. Okay, this will not have any problem. You can just create the you can create out here mm, codes for transfer measurement. And what are the codes needed? You have to basically do the following thing. You have to define the given method with the same process. Okay. Uh, base URI is same, I think so. So the base URI is same. Let me check it out. Base URI is same, I think. API. API open weather dot map. Open weather dot map. Yeah, same base URI you can use for the transfer of measurement. So I can just copy this. Let me start copying. And not updated right now. Format this properly. So I'll just copy this first, and then we will let you know what I'm doing. So until here, I will copy definitely. In your codes for transfer measurement. So for this also you have to create a test annotation method. Public void transfer and then so I want to run this first. So you know there is a parameter of test annotation called as priority, which will prioritize the running of the iterative is integer. So this will run this particular test annotation method first, and then it will run this one. So I'm setting up the priority level right now. Okay, now I'll copy the codes. So what I have done, let me show you. The I'm calling the same global variable, and I am passing it to the base URI variable of the rest assured class. And then I have to basically use the converted. So I have to convert the this transfer measurements. So I have to copy this then. So I'll go to rename, just copy this, and I need to paste it out here. And throws declaration is there, and then you're using the given method query parameter. You have to give, as far as this documentation is concerned, if you look at this, you have to give post method has to be used, and you have to give the path parameters at this. So I'll call this is part of the path parameter. So path parameter is defined in the after and when. This is the path parameters. I'll paste this out here. Okay, you have to give the header. For post and put, header is important. So you can see the documentation that the request header is required, and mandatory parameters are the query parameters. That is this one. Okay, and then assert that the response is 204. Okay, and what other assertion you have to do? The response header defines the server name as OpenResty. If you look at the Postman transfer measurements, at any point if you go to the header part, so this is the, I will send it. You will see the header part. The header part contains the server colors OpenResty. That also we are validating. How to validate that? I can validate the content type is JSON for the response. Okay, I don't need to, yeah, header server is OpenResty. Okay, I don't need to add any of these. And how is the response coming? There's no response for this. Based on the documentation, there's no response. So I can just basically validate these two. So I did not do all these validations. And you can log out, log the extracted response. Done. Now what I need to do is that the question is that this is manual intervention right now. If I run this, it will basically give me the requisite results. Okay. But the crux of the matter is that, am I passing the dynamic value of the ID? Still not. I'm passing it manually out here. I'm passing it manually out here. I'm passing it manually out here. Right? So what do you need to do to pass it dynamically? So for that, you have to use this particular JSON simple jar file in order to create the JSON file dynamically. So it will create this transfer measurement that you see out here, dynamically will create, and then it will get the value of the station ID dynamically from here. While creating, I will pass on this. Okay. Just give me 2 minutes, I'll come. Okay. I'm muting myself. Sorry, am I audible? Am I audible, guys?
Yes, Kaushik.
Okay. So I can manually do it. I can basically create this and just pass on this ID. Okay. But what will happen when I run it again? When I run it again, this ID will become different. This ID will be different. But since the ID of this particular station, the measurements will be transferred to this particular station ID. While again running it, it will first create the station again. So this ID will be different than what ID you have given right now. So there will be a mismatch because yes, the script will run, but the only problem is that since the script contains again the creation of the station, either basically I comment this line of code, this particular test annotation method, I run this only. Then obviously what is going to happen for this particular station ID, the measurement will be transferred. If I do not comment the above codes, I run the whole code, then a new station ID will be created out here. But this measurement will go to the earliest station ID, that is this one. I hope I'm able to make you understand what is happening. Okay, now what we need to do? I need to create then dynamically this JSON file. And if you look at it, it's starting with an object. Okay, the first thing is that I will copy this. I copy this so that you can download it from here. So I'll go out here, create the payload dynamically so that whatever runtime station ID is there, that will be passed to this. So for that you have to download, I'll open this up, to download this JSON simple 1.1 jar file, okay, from this particular repository. This will help in creating the JSON file dynamically with codes, Java codes. So you can go out here and download it. JSON simple 1.1 dot jar file. Showing the folder. I'll cut it out. I will put it to where I keep everything. So I'll put it to your software as an API. And create a folder. JSON simple 1.1. Paste it out here. I have to go to my project and create the build path for that jar file. That software and APIs. JSON simple add the jar file. To select on and apply and close. Okay. And this is obviously you can see uh, I'm basically putting it in the Maven project. Okay, so that's fine. I can put it here also. I'll send the whole code again. Anyways, and since it is a Maven project in which I'm creating it, then I have to give the dependency for this. So then I do not need to create a build path. I can just go to the this fact that is your build path. Remove this jar file. here, remove it. Okay, apply and close. I have to give in pom.xml the dependency for this jar file. Okay, so I need to go out here, maven repo.maven.org. In the same behavior, I will find it out. Hold on. Transfer measurement, right? And in the POM file, you have to also define the where is the resource. Right? Payload is defined. And Maven repository one, right? So where did I give the repo? Repo is out here. Copy this, paste it out. Go out here, remove this simple one, isn't simple. Okay. Google codes. All the Google codes are out here now. Repo.maven.org. What is this? Okay, let's go to uh, Maven repository. Technically, ambient-repository.com, you can go and you can just write down JSON simple 1.1.1. And this is the dependency. Copy this dependency and put it out here in your pom.xml file. Format it. Okay, and what you need to do is that run it as a Maven build this. I'll just compile it at this point of time. Why I'm building it? Because I need the jar file to be downloaded. Build success. Okay, and then I will check up if it has come out here or not. Go to the build path and Maven dependencies, JSON, the commander, movie, schema. It has not come. Yeah, it has come. Here, you can see that. Yeah, good. Now we can add it. I can just close the POM file. Once you have done this, you can create a, since we are using testng, you can create a public void method. You can just copy these codes one by one and copy it. Create the JSON request body. For which one? Uh, this is specifically for your this body for transfer measurement, so that you can understand what I'm doing. Okay. Now, hi how am I doing it? Is you do first, if you look at this transfer measurement portion in your JSON editor, it is starting with the array of size 1. Inside the array, you have the objects. So you have to create in the same fashion. Now, how do I create it? This is for, what is this for? Transfer measurements here. So you have to first create the JSON object class. This is the object class, JSON object class of the JSON simple. Use the put method of JSON object class to create a key value pair. That is what you need to do. Okay. And create an array of the clouds value. So you can create an object of the for the clouds value. So you can put the array and put the object out here, this object. So here, if you understand it, first we have to create the object and then we have to give the station ID. Wind gust and all these things is for transferring the measurement. So what is the transfer measurements containing right now? These are the things which are there. So I will copy this code and explain it to you. So these are all part of this only. So first we are creating the object condition NSC. Where is this condition NSC? Yeah, I'm starting from here. So I'm going for bottom up approach. Condition NSC you have to give, and that is part of your this object. You see, there's a square bracket. So you are creating an object of the JSON clouds. So that is why you're using you're starting from here. JSON objects of the clouds object. And you are putting this put method to put the first object. Now this object has to be present inside this is an object, right? This part is an object, right? You have to put this inside a array. So I'm starting from here now. So create a object, import it, and give the key value page using the put method. Create an object of the JSON object class. Use the put method to define this key value pair because I'm starting from top down. So I'm going to the intrinsic behavior. Now this object is present inside the clouds array. You can see a square bracket out here. So that is why you have an array created for the clouds value. And you add that object to it. So I'm creating it from this level. So first I'm creating an object with put method using the key value pair. And the object I'm creating by using the JSON object class of the JSON simple API. When you create the object, you have to put the object inside the clouds. And this is an array. So what you're using for creating the array? JSON array class of the same JSON simple API. And you add that particular object to it. After that, if you go out here, once this object is created, this object is present inside this array is present inside the objects. So many objects are out here. That is why in the code, again, you're creating an object and you're putting this station ID. Now this station ID should come from there, from here. But this is a local variable right now. So I have to globalize it. How do you globalize? So what you do at this level, define public string and ID. Okay, and this value that you are getting from here, from where is that? Yeah, from here. So what do? You pass this value to the global variable ID, and you will see the color coding. It is in blue color, so it is a global variable. This is a local variable, And it's good to use the this keyword. This will similar is a global variable, which is a non-static global variable. Since it is a non-static global variable, you're using the this keyword. If you are using a static global variable, then you have to call the class name. Okay. Now you have used it out here. Now this can be used out here. This dot id. So at runtime, I'm calling it. Now I'm creating the object. These are our objects. So let's go step by step. First, I created this object. This object is inside the clouds array. So that is why first an object is created. Then it is put into a clouds array with the add method. Then you are creating other objects for station, for date. So that there's a date also out here. Temperature, wind speed, wind gust, pressure, humidity, rain. Okay. And then clouds. Now inside the clouds object, there is an array of size 1 which has an objectable condition. So this object is clouds value is called from here. Because this method, that is this object has an array inside it. And the array inside it has this particular object again. So that is why this array is called here. This will create the thing. Then you create the main object. Main object is this one. Okay. Add it to the main object. Again a JSON array, because this part is the array, right? Wherever you see, this is part is the array, right? So you have to put the whole object, this object inside the array. So again, you are using the JSON array class of JSON simple and add the main object. After that, there is an inbuilt class of your Java file writer class. Where do you want to write? Here. Or let's say I want to write it in this payload, right? So I will take what? I will go to properties and take the path of that. So I'll copy that path. Go to my this particular behavior and define that path. When you define the path, also define the JSON file name. So I'll create a JSON different file now. tm.json. Okay. After that, use the write method to write this main value. So this main value is in JSON array. Convert it to a string by using the toJSON string method of the JSON array class of the JSON simple array. ToString method is basically used to convert. The write method of file writer class is basically used to write in the buffer memory. Now this is a JSON array, and file writer method will take a string value. So that is why you convert the array to a string using the toJSON string method. Then you have to flush out. If you don't flush out from the buffer memory in the real file, it will not be written. So always flush out. This is also a method of the file writer class. Import this file writer class. Okay. Now this is how I've created dynamically the JSON file. Okay, using the JSON simple uh, jar, the JSON simple API. Okay, it comes with a lot of warnings. You can see. You can suppress the warning at the method level. All the warning goes. And you can suppress this out here also. That's fine. You can suppress that. So this is how you have written down. Okay, how do you pass it now? You have to pass this. So where do you pass it? This has to be passed inside this method then. This has to be again converted to a string, because the request body is converted back to a string, because the body part, where is the body part, will take a converted body. So what we need to do, we have to call this method first. In the in this transfer measurement. So let's call that. And this will contain this will create it. After creation, it will create a file called as tm.json, because if you look at, it will create a file called as tm.json, right? After that, it is going to convert that tm.json, whatever is the file. So what I can do is that uh, this should be tm.json. This has to be into tm.json. Then only able to convert it to a string, and then it will be used in the body method. Okay, now what is happening out here? Dynamically, what is the station ID created? Will be created by this method and be passed into that particular method where the JSON file is getting created. So instead of running the whole thing right now, why don't I basically show you the running of this particular lines of code, just to show you that it is creating the tm.json file. And I will also show that this station ID is getting passed to this created JSON file dynamically. So let us run this now. Run it from the other test ng test. Now the station ID right now is this. Where is the file? If you want to see the file, you have to refresh the project. Did it create it? Now let's go out here. Look, I will copy this because this is coming in this format. That's fine. Copy this and paste it to your JSON editor and run this. Is the station ID same? Compare this station ID with the station ID that you have got out here. 5DFDA88F6. 5DFDA86F6. Last is 11DFFEF. 11DFFEF. So am I passing the dynamic station ID to the request of another function that is for transferring the measurement? Am I doing that? Yes, I'm doing that. Then I can basically run this. And I'm also validating that the header value is this. Validating the content type is JSON or not. I'm validating the status code is 204 or not. If not, the validation will fail. Simple. Okay. So what I will do is I will run this now from here. I will remove this. It will again create. So what I can do is I can run this as a test ng test. And the transfer measurement will also happen to the new station ID created. Let's see it. Everything is fine. All the test. One failure. Where is the failure? Assertion. Expected 204 was for 400. Why? 400 means bad request. This is the station ID. Okay, get it at runtime. This is what is shown out here also. Okay, this is the station ID actually, where I've got it. This is a response body. Okay, and this is the station ID actually, yes. And the header part, why this has failed, assertion error. It did not transfer the measurements. At which line is the problem? So this is, I'll say, this is out, starting the transfer of measurements. I will not log in these, not required. Query parameters header is this. Where is this params coming from? When the post is this, this is the query parameter of given, header of given, body, request body is this. When the post is this, then assert that status code is 204, validation for the content type, validation for the header, and I will not log in at this point of time. Oh, I need the response dot extract dot response. Okay, and the body will come from the converted body. This has to be passed. Before that, I'm calling this method to create the request body for transfer of measurement. So the body is created. I can see that. Let's refresh it. The body gets created. And station ID gets transferred. Okay, so what I can do is, let me give some time to create that body. So I'll give a thread.sleep a 10 seconds delay. Body gets created, then it gets converted, and then you can put it out here. Status code to be 400. What is 400 means? Bad request, is it? Bad request. The server will not process the request due to apparent client error. Okay. All created out here. Let's run this now. Transfer measurement starts. 10 minutes delay is there. Passes 1, failures 1. Why the failure is happening? Okay, let's do one particular thing. Let's remove this. Delete. It is anyway running, right? It will stop at a particular point where it is stopping for the JSON file to be created. I will refresh the project manually. It has created the JSON file. Still the failure is out there. The expected status code was 204 but was 400. What is the problem with this? Is there a problem with this? Let us check up. It is creating the JSON file correctly or not. Copy and put it to the JSON editor. Station ID, date, temperature, wind speed, clouds again has in real time what it is. Copy this. I'll find JSON editor. Paste it here. It has a 0 array of size 1, 0 of 10 it is creating. Here it is 9. It's a bad request, that's why. So where is the problem? Clouds. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What is this here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What is extra out here? Rain 1 hour. Is that extra? It has a date, rain 1 hour is there. Station ID is there. Date, rain 1 hour. Station ID is there. Temperature, humidity, wind speed, pressure. Temperature, humidity, wind speed, pressure. Wind gust is also there. What is not there then? Wind degree. Wind degree is not here. 23. I mean, degree is not here, so I'll have to go to transfer measurements, check it up. But that is also a parameter, right? Remove this. Not having any problem. Let's run this. Oops, delete this. Refresh it. Now let me capture. This is what I had given manually. This is what is created. Now it is running. Clouds here also. Here also. Wind gust is coming after that. That doesn't matter. It is creating the same format. There are 9 objects. Array size 1. See, if I go to the documentation of open weather, when does 400 come? If I run it manually means that I will not use this method. I will just use this transfer measurement. Run this one. Ten seconds will wait. It is still failure. So that is not my problem then. The assertion is failing. 400 is coming. Okay. So probably too much of request has gone. It takes a particular quota of requests. Okay. That means my concept is correct. So I can use this. I have transferred the dynamic value of this station and transferred it and created this tm.json file. Okay. So this will be tm.json. So I'm absolutely fine in that. The concept is perfect. I'm transferring the dynamic value, station ID, in this JSON file, which I'm creating dynamically. I'm passing it out here. And from that, it is basically looking at the transfer of measurement is happening or not. The status code assertion is failing with a manual intervention like this or with a dynamic intervention like this. But it is working fine. If I comment this, probably it is going to basically not validate these also. I don't know. Let's see, check it out. If you remove that, you are getting assertion passed. And assertion is saying that you are basically contemplating the fact that is the header server value is equal to open-rest in content type is JSON or not. It is passing. If you just remove that validation, 204 versus 400, it has passed. Probably some internal error of them. Okay. Guys, have you understood it? I think you should see the video once. Have you
Yeah,
ever?
Kaushik. It's a bit
I think I
confusing.
will see the video and then you should ask me a question tomorrow. I'll send you the
Right.
video and I will request you to go
Kaushik,
to the.
last week session video also not sent.
नहीं भेजा क्या?
नहीं नहीं भेजा.
One minute. I'll send it right now. Fifteenth session ना?
हाँ.
ये 16th session, तो ये 15th ही होगा. Or what I can also do is that send you the workspace. Better. Workspace is in your desktop. इसको ऐसे नहीं करके पूरा फोल्डर ही करना पड़ेगा. This is not. ये वाला वीडियो मेरे को just give me one and a half hours. I'll send it. वो convert होता है थोड़ा.
Okay. Okay, Kaushik.
Hey, ping me after 1.5 hours if I'm forgetting because I have a fantastic habit of forgetting things.
Yeah, yeah. I will WhatsApp you, Kaushik. I will WhatsApp you.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, guys. Amrit, you have any
Okay.
questions? Okay, fine.
Okay, Kaushik. Yeah. Okay. Thank you,
Yeah.
Kaushik. Okay, bye. Bye.